We're gonna do some drills, some closed guard today. We're gonna work on taking the back, and then I'm gonna do two things. We'll do the first part. We'll do the first part when we get to the back, and then I'm gonna do an adjustment when they're basically not trying to give me that arm. All right. We'll go here first. So I always want my hips off the mat so I can move. Okay. Number one, so I control his posture. So I'm always gonna be working for grips, whether it's collar and sleeve, right? If he tries to take a step up, right, I'm pulling him in with my knees. I'm never flat back here, because then it's a little bit harder as he tries to move for me to pull him in. So maintain your posture, right? He can kind of be heavier with his hips. If I'm up, every time he tries to lean into me or make a move, I pull him in, okay? Then I can start working different things, all right? So I want to go, so even if he makes a grip, so I'm going to grab here, see grip here, hips are off the mat. I'm going to break this over, like I'm going to take it over my shoulder, so up. And then as I do that, I drop my hips and pass the arm, okay? If he gets a good grip here, I can go here, or I can go underneath and grab my wrist. I want to roll this bottom wrist. Either of those will work, okay? Break, pull them across. From here, I shift my hips, lock my legs, middle finger to his back. Sorry. Oh, this way. This way. Okay. So I have my middle finger grabbing his armpit on the far side. My sternum right on the back of his shoulder here. Okay. From here, I let go of this grip, arch on my elbow, and sit up. Okay. From here, I'm going to unlock these legs and drag my right leg through. Get my hook. In this case, we're going to get both hooks. My left hand is going to come down and grab at his collar. Both hooks here. I'm going to take my right hand and connect it to my left. Pulling down, finish on his back here. So he grabs this side, break, shift, lock my legs, control his armpit. The whole point of this is so he cannot pull his arm back out. Okay? If I let his elbow come up, he's just gonna square back up with me. So once he's here, I put my sternum there. Here, I keep it there. I'm really heavy now. My center of gravity versus his, it's very hard for him to pick his body up. Okay? And turn, get my hooks. So my hand's under here, grab his collar, connect to my wrist, finish on my side here, go to a turn. Hold seatbelt, feed the collar, control the hand. We'll get to more on that in another day. But just get to this position or this position here. Does that make sense? All right, start with that and then we'll add to it. 1, 2, 3. He's making a grip, right? And he's making it he's really digging his arm in here, right? I'm having difficulty, one, breaking it because his elbow's so close, right? Even if I do break it, he's like digging his elbow inside here. It's making it hard for me to get, or he's trying to pull his elbow back. So instead of me, say, really make it difficult, don't let me drag this arm, right? Even if you dig inside here, right? Well, no, I can't open my legs that much. Now, if I push it all the way in, yeah. But, so block my hip, it's fine. So he's blocking my hip, closing it, not letting me drag it, okay? So think instead of, I could force this drag and still get to his back, right? I have a sleeve here. He's already kind of putting his hand where I want it. I'm gonna take my left hand and grab at his elbow or his tricep, probably his elbow here, near where the bend or the point of his elbow is. I'm gonna pull that as I push this hand into his chest, okay? So what happens is I'm making a little pocket, turn a little bit this way. Okay, I'm making a little bit of a pocket here. So I'm gonna push and open, okay? I have two different things that I can do. Normally I don't like to put my foot on the floor. First option here is I can put my foot on the floor and I pinch my knee to his body so he can't step over it, right? So I'm gonna pinch here, I'm gonna lift my hips, and I'm gonna move. I'm not moving him. I'm gonna move as I push his arm. Here, now I come up. Okay? So he's digging his elbow. Here, I push, hip escape, sit up, okay? I'm just trying to get his elbow to drop to the floor. That's option number one. Option number two, I have that opening. I'm pulling at the elbow, pushing at the wrist. Take my hand and go through here and grab, okay? Now I have an option to arm drag it. So I'm gonna start to sit up and try to drag his arm, okay? Elbow to the floor, okay? From here, I can shift, take his back the same way. A lot of times, if I get here, he's gonna resist the drag. So he's gonna try to pull back, because he already knows what's coming. So he tries to pull back, right? So now I close my elbow over his wrist and I drag to the floor. Turn to this side, towards me. This way. Okay, so now I have this. You already see what's coming here. So I have flower sweeps, a bunch of different things that I can do. I'm gonna hug my shin, my foot goes to his hip, and I start kicking towards his armpit, okay? My head's gonna go this way. So big kick here, push his head. I have his arm in here, okay? His wrist is trapped, okay? So I can either drag and take his back again, or if he tries to resist, so I'm in here, I grab, if he sits up, right, I start to drag. If his arm goes across, I take his back, okay? If it doesn't, and he tries to resist and straighten his arm, right, I drag to the floor and hold my knee, okay? Hold here. Now, my toes are in my knee is into his ribs, wrapping at his armpit. Right leg's gonna go up to his armpit as I kind of hip escape. I'm making an angle around his body. Now I push his head. Pinch the knees together, heels down, hips up. Okay? If I want to drag him across here, I step, drag across. Okay? Just like a standard arm drag. Okay? Now I'm going to let my hand out and I start to climb. Okay? Same thing. Drag him on his shoulder. Here. Does that make sense? Any questions?
Do you do it for the arm, or are you just putting your weight on his wrist?
I'm just going to close my elbow over his wrist. And I'm just going to hug my knee. So there's just nowhere to pull his arm out. Yes?
Ask if I see again.
Yeah. Here so you can see too. I'll use camera. Here, just go sit so you can see too. So if I break, now he closes his elbow hard, right? Push in here, as I pull on his elbow, there's a gap here. So now I shift my hips. So his arms, I didn't control his wrist. So I would take his back from here, okay? So I can drag all the way to the back. If he tries to straighten his arm when I have that position, that's when I'm gonna get it. Okay? So here, he digs his elbow, right? I push in, I grab. As I go to drag, if he tries to straighten his arm, I drag to the floor here, and I close my elbow. Turn this way. So I end up here, hug my knee. His wrist is in there, so if he tries to pick me up, pull his arm out, you just can't do it, okay? Foot goes to his hip. I pinch my shin against his back. Right leg is gonna go to his armpit. And I'm gonna move my head towards his knee. Here. Okay? So depending on when I drag, what he does with this arm. If I can't capture his arm with my elbow, I don't worry about that. I'm gonna take his back instead. Does that make sense? Good? All right, try it. 1, 2, 3.